Good morning, everyone. It's good to be back. It's been a minute or two, but as we all know, life happens and it gets in the way. But I promised myself, and I made a promise really to you that I would get on the video this year and start sharing some of the observations that I have around the temperament of what they call in the research high sensitivity, which I prefer to call high attunement, because in New Zealand, many of us as little ones were called too sensitive in a derogatory fashion, which shamed and humiliated this incredible gift that we've been born into the world with. It's been shamed out of us, it's been suppressed, and given the insights that I hope I can share with you, I'm hoping that we can reframe some of that and start to step into a sense of confidence around who we are and why we are here. Because the temperament, as I have come to understand it, is actually very much tied into your life purpose. And we're all different in terms of what that life purpose is. But people who have that ability to have that depth of perceptual processing, what do I mean by that? The research shows genetically and neurally that we are wired differently, about 20% of the general world population, alongside up to 100 animal species as well. So this is actually biological, evolutionary. There's a need in the species to have this variation of the mainstream temperament that picks up on more data than the other 80%. So that means that you may be a little prophetic, a little visionary. You may be 10 steps ahead of other people, 2 steps, maybe 10 years ahead of other people, maybe a lifetime ahead of other people. You can see patterns. You are, in terms of picking up on data beyond the 5 senses, feeling into the psychology of others, into the field of the collective, perhaps, collective groups, collective group patterns, emotional energy. You are picking up on far more than your own field, which is so overwhelming as a child. Because there's no angel tapping on your shoulder saying, hey, honey, this is a temperament that you've been born with that's going to help you to heal and transform that which is dark around you into light. This is the most simplistic way I can put it, but the highly attuned people that I meet are the most beautiful souls wanting to step into helping others heal. And in order to do that, they are often wounded healers. What a pattern that I see is that they drop into some of the most unbelievable dysfunction in terms of their family of origin. But there are those that are outliers that also land in a family that's really, really supportive. But their role may be to see beyond what their parents can, which is to say that even if it's not dysfunctional, say it's a supportive family, wow, I'm really seeing the limited belief system and the trauma-induced filters and patterns that my mother or my father have picked up from their ancestors. And actually it's time for me to break that now for the sake of the generations coming through. And it's big work and it's invisible work. Then on the other hand, and this is what I predominantly see, highly attuned temperaments landing into family systems of high dysfunction, where there's real abuse going on. And they know in their little systems, this is not right. And they're often truth tellers. And from there, as a truth teller, you can become either hysterical and try to tell the truth and get slapped down and then scapegoated for that. Or you can try to tell the truth, get slapped down, and then just become a chameleon and adapt to that situation, be whatever the environment wants you to be and what's expected of you, and lose yourself along the way. Either way, you lose your esteem. There is another version that might come through here, and probably a whole lot more than I can explain here, and hopefully the new generations will take the baton of what I'm sharing and be able to elaborate more, but this is what I'm seeing so far. There's also those of us that are born into families of quite a lot of dysfunction and unhealthy patterns. They're truth tellers. They feel like, they've been dropped off by a stork at the back door and feel pretty adopted, because it's just like, I don't even know what this insane asylum is, because they just know the truth as little people. This is not right. And they can slip into another type of tendency, which is more, I'm better than everyone else. A bit of grandiosity, a bit of superiority. So we can have hysteria, we can have codependent sort of, I need you to validate me and validate my worth. And you can also have, well, these guys are absolutely screwed and I know better than them. And so I'm going to be a lone wolf in my life, and I'll just risk assess my way around this world and not trust any humans. And we have these adaptive patterns that saved our backsides in our family of origin. But as we come into adulthood, we see that they actually are sabotaging our lives and sabotaging our relationships. And so when we come to that understanding that, oh my goodness, here I am, for example, me midlife, just going, what have I been doing all my life? Here I am, a therapist, a relationship therapist for the last 10 years. And, it's been a real dark night. And I'm actually going to do a video on the dark night of the soul from the mystic Saint John of the Cross, a Catholic monk of the 1500s, has sort of mapped out what that dark night looks like, and very, very helpful for highly attuned people to be connected into spiritual and wisdom traditions that help us to understand that almost spiritual, mystical journey that many highly attuned people sense, know, feel and perceive that they're actually on. We see through eyes of our soul. We see symbolically. We see meaning in things. And as long as we haven't been so conditioned by our culture in our younger years and so traumatized into thinking that what's wrong with me, or the other side, I'm better than everyone else, if we can somehow move into a healthy esteem, which is, I'm enough because I'm here, because I'm alive, because I'm breathing, because that's truth. It's just what's true. When we can come into this moderate level of healthy ego esteem, and we actually start to get some models and some maps of the psychic territory that is the highly sensitive, highly attuned temperament, which I'm going to share with you, models, multi-sensory models of psychology, which currently is not in mainstream psychology, and that's why I want to share it. When we can get a grasp on how our temperament actually works, we start to tune into our intuitive abilities. We start to be able to clear the clutter of our own psyche and unlearn some of the patterns that we've picked up to survive in our younger years, and start to receive and perceive the data accurately so that we can then see our next steps in terms of our purpose in life, which is a mystery. And we're basically threading it out moment by moment. It's an incredible journey to go on, an adventure to say the least, but it takes the overwhelm when we start to get these models down that I'm going to share with you out of our poor old physical body, which may have taken a real hit from a very overstimulating culture that for the most part is saying, hey, we value science and logic over faith and the unseen, which goes against everything that you know to be true. And I really want to validate those that just know this to be true, because what we're doing currently in psychology is we're invisibilizing one half of the psyche that is definitely present for highly attuned people. So it's really hard for me to just in 5 minutes sum up what the highly attuned system is, looks like. But I think the main thing I want to put across to you today is that you perceive more than your own psychology and field. You may be visionary, prophetic. You come in and you're dropped onto planet Earth with some wisdom already as a child. Like for me, I just knew that everything was energy and that everything is connected. I had insight for when people were grieving, and sometimes that went down like a lead balloon, and other times people found it very therapeutic. But I learned to shut down that wisdom that was flowing through me even as a child, because I got humiliated a number of times, because frankly as a child I didn't really know that people aren't ready to hear that degree of truth. I can sense even family members thinking and emotional fields way before they can feel it. And it used to put my system in a jam, and now I just accept it. And I just have a sense of, oh, that's just data coming through my system. I'm feeling my mother's anger. She'll be here back tomorrow, no doubt, to tell me about it. And I don't have any surprises. I can reframe it that way. Or, okay, the family don't get it. I will have to step in and do this, this, and this until they do. And that's a real gift, to be able to see before other people, to perceive people's needs before they can even perceive their own needs. But it's also about how do you navigate yourself in having that extra sensory, perceptual understanding of the world, and when to act on it and when not. Things that we weren't taught when we were a child, and boy, I wish I had had that angel tapping on my shoulder, and that's why I want to speak into this now. So anyway, this is the beginning of a series of videos. I'll be talking more into this temperament. I'm going to let you lead me, so I'll put the video out. If there's questions, you throw them at me, and then we'll start to have a dialogue. I will be responding to those questions and sharing more as my energy allows, my health allows, my vitality allows, because I do experience chronic illness, so relapse remission-y sort of cycles. So when I'm out, but when I'm in. And I would really appreciate feedback, questions, because you lead me as to what I can share that's going to be helpful for you. I thank you very much for tuning in. It's been beautiful to connect, and I'm looking forward to hopefully establishing a community of like-minded, like-hearted, and like-spirited souls. And I highly encourage an interfaith dialogue and community, because the other thing about high attunement is we have spiritual, soul, energetic senses. This is beyond the 5 senses. So many of us are spiritually inclined. We may be agnostic, we may be atheist, but many of us have found a spiritual path of some sort. So I welcome you all. And if my language doesn't resonate with your belief system, just tweak it for yourself. I'm trying to find words that encompass and can be supportive and welcoming of all spiritual beliefs and faiths. But right now, at this point in time, I just want to bring us together in the spirit of love, to learn from one another and to understand our temperament more, the purpose and mission of why we are here on planet Earth if we are suffering a lot with this temperament. I want to help you to turn that lead of the curse of what you feel is the temperament, the overwhelm, the empathic overwhelm, into gold, into the gold that your soul would want for you, because you have these capacities and abilities for a reason. And you probably, without realizing, are actually right on purpose right now, even if you are suffering. But if I can help to liberate you or alleviate you from some of that suffering, that would be my greatest wish come true. So I hope that for those of you that need this information, that you will tune in with me, and we can create together a community. So lots and lots of love to you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I look forward to getting some feedback and questions, which will lead me into my next video and post. Thank you so much. And we'll talk again soon. Lots of love.